Hello there, Site 42 staff, as well as those of you from the greater SCP Foundation community, and welcome to another Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site 42. As always, I am Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director and Head Containment Specialist here at Site 42 of the SCP Foundation. And as we do every day for over 6 months, a daily streak continues and counting. I open my office doors to you, the Foundation staff, once a day for 30 minutes to 3 hours to answer your queries about the inner mysteries of the SCP Foundation. So whether you have questions about the anomalies we contain, the staff that contain them, the groups of interest who are really touchy about that whole containment thing, and hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of the SCP Foundation's purview, perhaps from a different multiverse or metaphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom, I am here for the next approximately 3 hours to answer your burning questions. Sometimes literally, if they are mimetic cognitohazards that inflict a burning effect on the asker and or the askee, or if they are questions that somehow cause an anomalous fire to start in the ears or other orifices of the person you are asking. Burning questions are something to be very afraid of. So, here we are, looking at the chat, and before we begin with the Q&A, as well as donos and all things like that, let me start with a little housekeeping. Puppet Boy, thank you for your exceptional #1 punctuality. Congratulations on being today's first chatter. Alongside you, Puppet Boy, Junior Researcher Sally, America, The Engineer, Silent Follower, Indecisive, Anna and Friends, Engineer Gaming, A.A. Blackwood, Alki, Dr. Parker, Yasley, Dark Duality, Amber. Everyone to whomst I have just named, thank you for your exceptional punctuality, and thank you for being members. We appreciate your membership and your service, especially the work you're doing to help us win the battle against the white names. Furthermore, if you are the Forest Eyes, Videl, Fluent Magpie, Zombie Cat, and Unstable Bookshelf, congratulations on your exceptional punctuality today, and thank you for being here on time, and thank you for being here just for being you today. So, as a quick reminder at the time of chat, as we get into today's stream, I will be here for 3 hours. I will answer questions from the chat. Donations get priority, as you would expect. There are also some links in our channel support link, which is linked in the description as well as pinned to the chat if you want to support Site 42 in any ways that you may choose to. We appreciate all support in helping us boost our signal to support the SCP community. Now, how about our headline? So, we accidentally made some gods. Our bad. So the funny thing is, you guys didn't know about this, but it happened all the way back in the 90s. We were looking at planets, and we made some gods. And so, today is a most auspicious day. It is the beginning of SCP Anthology 2025. I know. The 9-con contest ended just a couple of days ago. And now it is already Anthology 2025. I swear we can't keep having these events. The SCP authors can't write anymore. It's a bit insane. But Anthology started today, and the first Anthology episode, titled Malkuth, I wonder if it has a actual name aside. So the way they're theming the Anthology this year is alongside the Kabbalah, the Sephiroths. Sephiroth! And so, there will be 10 entries, one a day, in this year's Anthology. It is, of course, October, spooky season. Anthology is always a horror anthology. And the first of which is titled Malkuth, Symphonia Universalis. And I am only going to give you a sneak preview, because obviously what you got to do is you got to read SCP-9911. Give yourselves a little time. I think it took me about 30 minutes to get through it today. But the byline here, the SCP Foundation accidentally turns the planets between Mercury to Saturn into individual deities with their own powers and their own aims of what to do with them. And it doesn't go well for us, man. It does not go well for Homestar Wanna in that universe. Yeah, man. Mercury is a god. Mars is a god. Saturn is a god. Jupiter is a god with a space laser on it, man. And also, just a sidebar. Can we talk about the fact that in this article, spoilers ahead, not only are the planets all of a sudden gods, but there's also just an offhand reference to the Venusian arachnids. Yes, Venus is a god too, but what about the spiders? The Venusian spiders. No! We do not need Venusian arachnoids on top of our accidental planet creation. Sorry, accidental god creation out of planets. Yeah, I say. A hearty yeah to that. Tempest Barnes, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Oh no, Engineer Gaming, I just want you to know, in the document, it's just an offhand reference. They're like, oh, yeah, the Venusian spiders are inconsequential and we don't need to worry about them. Excuse me? I think space spiders are always something to worry about. Excuse me. So yes, SCP 2025's Anthology has begun with Malkuth, Symphonia Universalis, SCP-9911. Enjoy it at your own peril. I will say, even though it was a bit long, I did, in fact, give it an upvote. Although I'm not a huge long article proponent, and space articles tend to make my eyes glaze over with how much technobabble they include, the sheer concept of this and how they play it out, it's worth it. It's worth it. Please enjoy the frickin' gods of our own creation. So, with our headline out of the way and your suggestion to read SCP-9911, the first of our 2025 anthology episodes, let us move to Q&A and donations for the next 2 hours and 50 minutes. Starting out with Dark Duality. Thank you for our first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. make sure to grab yourself a order of peri peri chicken on the way past the commissary. SCP Twilight Zone lol. I mean, how much of the SCP backlog is just what if Twilight Zone episodes anyways? This is kind of our thing. Us SCP fans are eating. Puppet Boy, you are correct about that. In fact, sometimes I believe that we are eating too much. I don't know how this buffet is going to survive this. I am, in this moment, Melissa Joan Hart gif with too many pancakes. That is our life for today. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. Oof, I think I found the wrong one. 4477 saved me. The wrong what? Dark Duality. What did you... I'm horrified that that is the god you would call out to. What did you find that you need cock block Jesus's help? What exactly makes food from the Ambrose restaurants anomalous? Is it the way they prepare it, the ingredients they use, or both? Or if I know how to, could I create anomalous food out of normal items? Intern fun, you're looking at a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B situation there. They use anomalous ingredients, they use anomalous cooking methods. One look at their menus and you see a lot of things going on there. If you are to frequent an Ambrose restaurant location, make sure to gird your loins and everything else, because your body's going to be doing some backflips, internally and externally. James Pruitt, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself some tuna tartare on your way past the commissary. Incoming transmission from Ethics Committee. Hello. Well, hello to you, James. Welcome back to chat. Not gonna lie, the last big article you recommended was 8980, which was phenomenal. I think I'll trust your judgment, Doc. Puppet Boy, as a non-long article enjoyer, I will tell you, 8980, I was addicted to the whole time. I could not stop reading despite its length because it just drags you along. I will tell you this about my experience with 9911, and I did say it in the discussion of the page as well. The concept, incredible. Fantastic, 10 out of 10. The containment procedures almost turned me off immediately because not only do I not like long articles, I don't like technobabble. And space articles on the wiki are always infinite length, infinite technobabble. It drives my brain insane, but I made it through and it got better. And then the concept starts kicking in and I'm like, okay, this is good. And then they get to a point at this very long scroll bar where there's a link at the bottom. And I'm like, this doesn't seem like they're done. And I click the link, and it goes to part 2, which is about the same length. And that was the scariest part of the whole article for me, okay? I was not ready for finishing a long article and then being told you're only halfway done. Rude, I say. Rude. I think the same thing of people who put a bunch of collapsibles in an article so that you think it's short, but then you unclick the collapsible and there's a novel in there, and then another one in the next collapsible. Don't lie to me about the length. Arg, big article jump scare indeed. Rude is what it is. But that being said, between the two parts, there is enough for me to have given it an upvote. It is solid. I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. It is good. Just don't get your hopes up for an 89-80 spree. There's a reason that's one of my favorite articles, and this one isn't. As I always say, if your expectations are set where they should be, you are less likely to be disappointed, and therefore you're less likely to be upset by things. If you always have low expectations, you'll be fine. What are some good articles to read for a newbie? Well, ZenLab, what I would suggest to you is on the front page of the SCP database, on the left-hand sidebar, you're going to see a page called User Curated Lists. And that User Curated Lists is a list of different authors and different SCP community members making lists about the different articles they think should have lists. So there's the format screw list, where if you like things that are meta bullshit, like I do immensely, then you can go there. There's the holiday hub, where you can see SCPs about specific holidays. The April Fool's hub, where articles were set up as April Fool jokes specifically, so it's a little lighter hearted. The Milk Hub, which is a hub of articles about milk and or other dairy products. Ugh. Celestia 54, the website is scpwiki.wikidot.com. scpwiki.wikidot.com is the official homepage of the SCP community. Reminder, it is not a wiki describing the SCPs like a lot of fan wikis are, where if Marvel comics and Marvel movies happen, there are fan wikis making articles cataloging them. The SCP Wiki is just the main hub of the community where all the stories are created. So the SCP Wiki is a bit different in that way. Also, ZenLab, I'm not done with you yet. That was a tangent. I appreciate your thanks, but you're not off the hook yet. You see, the other thing you can do is you should find out if you have friends in the SCP community. You should ask them what articles they recommend, because you likely have similar taste in art to friends of yours, and they would be able to recommend ones you might like. And if all else fails, content creators like me are constantly bringing up articles. So if a concept of an article we bring up makes sense, then you can go there. We also have a playlist on this channel called The Sherm's Great Skip Dictations Master List, which is a playlist of hundreds of SCP article readings. And so you can go through that as well if you just want me to take the reins and show you a bunch of SCPs that I thought were at least interesting enough for me to read on the channel. Now you're safe. James, thank you for donating again. I don't want to donate too much because I want people to have a chance to talk. But what is the difference between the GOC, Serpent's Hand, and Chaos Insurgency? Well, trust me this. On one hand, I always say, remember, you don't have to donate, because I will get to the chat in between donations if it becomes a lot of donations. And on top of which, people are broke, and I understand that. And so I try to get to people's questions in the chat without donos. And everyone who's here in the chat commenting or watching our videos and commenting, liking, sharing, subscribing, if you are here and actively helping our engagement and helping the algorithm boost us at Site42 so we can better help the SCP community, then you are an honored and valuable member of Mobile Task Force Site42, codenamed the Signal Boosters. And we salute you regardless of your moneyed or unmoneyed status. But I also have to go the other way sometimes. Don't feel like you shouldn't donate for that fact, because every direct donation helps a lot to keep the lights on for myself and Desk, as well as our editor Synthetic Alien, as well as our Discord mods, Andy and Fractured and Nagi, and sometimes Yossi. And to answer your question, by the way, so all of the groups of interest, you should assume They are just different perspectives on what to do with the anomalous in the world. So the Foundation, we see the anomalous, we think it's bad, we want to contain it, lock it away so normal people can live their normal lives. We want to research them. We don't destroy them because we can't research them anymore. And so even if we lose some staff members or cause a crisis, we'd rather keep the anomaly intact unless it's a last worst case scenario. Now the Global Occult Coalition is the UN's SCP Foundation. The SCP Foundation is non-governmental. We are a private organization. The UN made the Global Occult Coalition, and they are much more militaristic. They use weapons, or anomalies as weapons more often than we do. They are much more willing to destroy anomalies they think might be dangerous. They're not as bloodthirsty as we at the Foundation paint them to be, but they're still kind of dicks, in my humble Foundation opinion. The Serpent's Hand, meanwhile, are hippies. They are wizards who live in a magical library of infinite knowledge that they don't let us in to read the books and get better research, which is rude. And they think that all anomalies should be free, except for the ones that would hurt humanity. They want to stop that from happening. But they think anomalies should be free, that people should know about the anomalous. So we disagree with those hippies. And finally, the Chaos Insurgency is actually a high-level mobile task force of the Foundation that turned traitor and continually tries to destroy us and release our anomalies. Bunch of dicks. Harvey Bishop, thank you for your first donation of today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a box of Pocky on your way past the commissary. Finally got my check in. I'm classified as Keter because of all the silly threats, even though I'm always joking. Well, that doesn't make sense. Are they threats to escape and that you have the capability to fulfill them? Because Keter is a difficulty and containment classification, not a danger classification. I'm a little confused there. I need some more intel. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. There's a not safe for work type parody called SCP Anthology 2025. That's why I need Cockblock Jesus. Oh my. I did not know about this Anthology 2025 joke page. And now, live on stream, I'm going to look at it, and you get to see my reaction when I see it. Somehow without breaking YouTube streaming policies. Oh no. The totally legit SCP Anthology 2025. Posted in July of this year. This must be what you're talking about. Oh my. Oh, son of a parody of Anthology 2024. 31 different horror articles were written in October. A brand new audio recording for each. Some are silly, some are very unsettling, but most are somewhere in between. Happy April Fools. In July? Okay, well, I'm going to have to look through this later and be horrified. Great. Thank you for the intel, Dark Duality. I'm sure this is going to war with all of our psyches. James Pruitt, thank you for donating again. Does the Foundation work with the UNGOC or U.S. government? So the U.S. government actually has two Foundation proxies of its own. The Unusual Incidents Unit is the FBI's version of the SCP Foundation. They are horrifically underfunded and mostly ineffectual. And then there is the Department of Defense's Pentagram Office. And I don't remember if they are defunct or not. But either way, the SCP Foundation is sometimes forced to work with all sorts of groups of interest for the greater good. And sometimes that means working with the GOC. That means sometimes working with the U.S. governmental organizations. We don't like to do it, but sometimes we need to. And there's diplomacy and treaties between groups and jurisdictional battles all the time. And so it is a tense situation between the groups of interest at most times. By the way, just going back to what James was talking about a minute ago with donations and chat questions and donation questions and the difference. Just a reminder, obviously there's a priority to people who donate to the channel because if they give me something, I'm going to give them something to return very quick. A quid pro quo, if you will. At least an open and well understood quid pro quo. Where donos get first because they're right on it. And then a green name, a membership, I'm going to try to get to you more often because you are at least monthly donating. And then the white names are the lowest priority, although the most important thing above all of this is your question interesting to me? Trust me, the amount of people who come in a chat and say, hey, I released SCP-096, ha ha ha. You're boring me, which is the worst crime in an arts community. So, if your question interests me, if I think it would be fun to talk about, I am much more likely to pick it up. Because I will be interested, and then the chat will have fun with it because I'll be having fun with it. So keep that in mind. If you are making comments in just the chat, you are more likely to get picked if your question is not something I've heard 1,000 times and or something that I can make a fun riff on. You're in an improv show right now, guys. This is the same as going to see your friend's improv show, except I'm the only one on stage, and all I can do is take and run with your suggestions. For instance, Jenna, hey, what's the most popular SCP you made? Well, that is, I've got 2 answers for that. I'll even call it 3 answers, because there's the question of if I made it on the SCP Wiki and it's canon, or if I made it off the SCP Wiki and it's not canon. Because if we're talking about canon SCPs that I have written, the most popular is clearly SCP-2700-EX. With over a plus 500 rating, it is by far, you saw nothing, my highest rated SCP. Now, some articles like George the Chinchilla are more mimetic because they're a character, but 2700-EX is by far my most popular article because it really hits you in the feels. Meanwhile, off-site, when it comes to non-canon stuff that I make riffs about, like on the YouTube, I guess the most popular videos I have, therefore the most popular anomalies, are either the Floating Hand Spider, SCP-049 having stolen the gender switching stone, which we nickname SCP-049-F, or the Spider Moon. Those are my big 3 non-SCP canon popular video memes. Harvey Bishop, thank you for donating 2 more times. I think it's because I keep telling you I'm going to release the Immortal Lizard, and I released Kane once to get rid of 049. So that has nothing to do with being Keter at all. That's just regular threats. I feel like we wouldn't even give you an object class because we would just lock you up for that in general. Desk, Clown Milk Jesus was not my fault. That was you guys' fault. I can't take credit of what the Containment Hazard Assessment Team has wrought upon themselves. And Harvey Bishop, your other question. Also, if you could pick one safe class SCP to live with, which would you choose? Infinite Pizza Box. Easy. Infinite Pizza Box that spawns your favorite flavor of pizza. I'd be good. James, thank you for donating again. Are we the Pestilence is fake or Pestilence is real? I am on the Pestilence is fake side of things. I do not believe there is a Pestilence. I think 049 is full of bullshit. And that it killed my buddy Raymond for no damn good reason. Delusional bastard. Are all of the stories on the wiki canon? Celestia, the SCP Wiki is the only source of canon for the SCP community. And so the answer is yes. If it gets onto the wiki, it is canon to the SCP lore. The same way that if something's in a Marvel movie, it's canon to Marvel movies. Or if it's in the Marvel comics, it's canon to Marvel comics. If it's on the SCP Wiki, it's canon to the SCP universe. Which is why there is no canon, technically, because everything is so contradictory because there's so much stuff that you gotta choose your own adventure kind of canon there. Do you know of any good anti-memetics that aren't inside of Quantum's anti-memetics division story? Oh, yeah. Oh, do I have the weapon for you? And in fact, the funny story is, I have two very pleasurable to me anti-memetic objects in the wiki, and they're both knives for some reason. The first of them is SCP, I believe it's 3041. Codename the Red Knife. And the Red Knife is a rusty iron knife with a braided leather hilt. And it is rusty, it smells of spoiled meat, but we can't find the source of the smell through molecular testing. Now, once it has been held, but with bare skin, by a sapient subject for a certain amount of time, something happens, and we're not quite sure what it is. But the research logs that we're going through in it paint a story of something that I'm kind of worried about. Meanwhile, oh, what's that researcher's name? SCP knife. SCP-4955 is also an anti-memetic knife. And this one only has one person who can see it. And everyone else does not acknowledge the SCP exists. And it kind of makes researcher Smalls go crazy. So yes, two anti-memetics that you can deal with without the anti-memetics division is 4955 and 3041. Enjoy them, and it's weird that the two I was able, if I had a nickel for every time I came up with an anti-memetic knife, that would be 2 nickels, which isn't a lot. It's strange that it happened twice. Harvey, thank you for donating again. Let's be more specific. It has to be a living SCP safe and not the tickle monster. Which one now? Well, here's the problem you're going to have there. If it's alive, it is by definition Euclid in 99% of the SCP Wiki. There is... The safe classification means you could put it in a box and leave it there and it will stay contained. If it's alive, it becomes a Euclid because we need to feed it, we need to take care of it, it might plan to escape, and therefore, living entities are almost always classified as Euclid. Therefore, your question now does not make logical sense. What do you say to that? But if you're going to make me pick an SCP person, I'm picking SCP-008-J, codename Jeff. Real chill guy. We'd play some PlayStation together. James, thank you for donating again. Isn't there an SCP site that in itself is an SCP? I believe you're talking about SCP-1730, codename What Happened to Site 13. And the answer to the question is a real mess. A real mess. Snate, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a bag of Takis on your way past the commissary. SCP-053, kind of bad. Right this instant, I need you to clarify for me that you did not just refer to a literal child as a baddie. You have one chance, Snate. Because if that's how you're going to play it, we are throwing your ass into D-Class. Desk, thank you for keeping an eye on that. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. Senior Researcher James A. Harkness's personnel file is strange to me. I am not familiar with SCP James Harkness. Let me take a look-see. SCP James Harkness. Control F. Hark. Ah! The author page of Billith, you say, Desk. Okay. Well, not only is researcher James Harkness, in that case, a friend of the channel, but we are currently listening to their cool-ass music as we go along. And so, if you are enjoying today's music tracks, the stream music is provided by researcher Harkness's music program called Slowgramming, available on Spotify and YouTube. Harvey, thank you for donating again. What's the worst event you have witnessed at Site 42? And can I have the pokey you told me I could have delivered to my room because they won't let me leave? Yes, we can have the Pasta Physics Division come over there. Meanwhile, the worst event I've witnessed at Site 42 happened just recently on stream, didn't it? We had a huge containment breach, I was locked up and amnesticized, and it was a whole to-do. Wasn't a fan of it, to be quite honest. Are you an SCP Wikipedia page? Sir Patches, I am not an SCP Wikipedia page. In fact, I specifically am not an SCP because I do not have a page on the SCP Wikipedia. Nor am I present on the SCP, or the Wikipedia of the SCP Wiki on the actual Wikipedia. Harry Farrer. Hey, Dr. Sherman, I have been a member of the Wiki for a bit now and have a handful of skips to my name, but 9K was my first ever contest that I entered. The need to feel important, 17 votes currently. Well, congratulations on making a contest entry. I have never entered a contest for the community. I just write my articles at my own pace along the way. So very cool for you to have done so. I'm not familiar with your articles to my knowledge, but hey, maybe I'll come across one of them sometime. Just looked it up on the wiki. There is a Dr. Theron Sherman there. Well, yes, Intern Sanders. I am on the SCP Wiki, but the thing is, I am not a SCP myself. I am present in several SCP articles, from my first appearance in SCP-049 to SCP-7777 or SCP-6969-J, I believe. I've made a fair amount of appearances on the wiki, but not enough of them to have a full characterization tag, as some of the more prominent researchers are, like Clef, and all of them are. I haven't been around long enough. James, thank you for donating again. Let's put 682 in a black hole. Well, I believe we've done that already, James. I know that the time we launched SCP-682 into the sun, it grew solar sails and flew back to us. But let me check its termination log. Control F, black hole. Not listed on the termination log, but... Of course, a lot of people have theorized it off Wiki. Let's see, database here, database there. Checking here. See, the thing is, black holes, something, pulling out of reality. We already have erased 682 from consensus reality multiple times, and it always just kind of pops back into existence. So the likelihood that it would stay gone is very low in that case. We need to find something more than erasing it from reality, unfortunately. Kind of crazy, if you ask me. O5 Council, thank you for your first donation of today's stream. Grab yourself some Malabars on your way past the commissary. Can you do an SCP VR stream? Unfortunately, no. I do not have any VR apparatus to be utilizing it, so I would not even know where to start, unfortunately. I also don't know what SCP VR is specifically. At least I can look that up. Didn't we just discover that Meta has an SCP VR game? And there's SCP Lab Rat on Steam. SCP Experience on the Quest. Gotcha. Apparently, you might be able to convince Desk to do some SCP VR streaming over on Twitch, though. So if you're not following the Desk at the Desk SCP on Twitch, perhaps you will get to see Dr. Clef perform some VR adventures. Intern Leafy, you cannot date an SCP. Bad. We do not fraternize with the anomalies. Harvey, thank you for donating again. Guilty is charged for the breach and entrapment, but not the anesthetic. And also, I'm going to sleep good tonight. Well, have a nice nap. Ricardo, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Can I please have access to the gender-switching stone? Intern Vidal. The rules of using the gender-switching stone, SCP-113, are quite simple, as it is part of our medical health plan here at Site 42 in the Greater SCP Foundation. So as an employee of the SCP Foundation, you only have to put in a request with our on-site therapist, who will do a workup with you and will make sure that you are a good candidate for said transition. And this is not for any reason of worrying about transition in general. It's because SCP-113 specifically has a side effect where it hurts like an absolute motherfucker. All of your nerves get set on fire at once. And then it has a slight % chance of killing you every time you use it. And the more you use it, the more higher % that gets. And so we don't want people reusing it, which means we want to make sure they are hella sure and only going to use it once if we can help it. So, if that is the case, and you clear it with your on-site therapist, you put in the paperwork with HR, then we will, on the next time SCP-113 is brought to your site, allow you to utilize it. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. Oh, that's why their music were there. I found them totally randomly. Interesting. How did you end up on a random author page in your journey, might I ask? Because Dark Duality, not a lot of people check out the author pages. So did you find an article of Billith you liked and check out their author page from there? How'd you get there? It's got to be an interesting path through the website. James, thank you for donating again. Wouldn't it be better not to attempt 682 termination? Well, it will destroy all of humanity if it gets its way. So yeah, we normally don't destroy anomalies, but this one, it's a bit of an exception. Bearded Expensive, thank you for your 6-month member message as an overseer here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service, especially the leadership you bring us to help us win the battle against the white names. Dr. Sherman, Dr. Williams here. What is the possibility of SCP-343 making interaction with Shy Guy SCP-096? And how would an interaction with the two go? Would SCP-343 be able to rehabilitate 096 or have adverse effects? Well, I am not familiar with any interactions between 096 and 343. Let me see if I've got anything on the database. Okay, I'm not seeing any database entries regarding the two of them. I am going to point out that 096 is merely a physical entity with enhanced durability and a extrasensory perception for people who have seen it or seen its face. Meanwhile, 343 is a reality bender. Maybe it's got delusions of grandeur, but it can still bend reality to its whim. And so the likelihood is it would curb stomp 096. Likely what it would do, though, since it doesn't want to help us by doing that, is it would just blank its vision anytime 096 was near it. That way it couldn't see its face. Even though if it were actually God and omniscient, it would already know what 096's face looked like. Wouldn't it? Hence, it's not God. Check and mate. Intern Leafy, you're boring me. Again, you cannot date any SCP entity or object. Stop it or be silenced. James, thank you for donating again. You're going to hate me for this one, but Nine-Tailed Fox. Well, I'm not going to hate you because I don't know what you mean about Nine-Tailed Fox there. What do you mean, Nine-Tailed Fox in this case? Do you want them to fight something? Do you have a question about them? I need more intel. Mr. Illustrated did an animation of 343 versus 096. 096 loses by a pretty wide margin. Intern Aegis, thank you for the intel, and thank you for confirming my priors. I was pretty sure. James, thank you for donating again to clarify. It's the Superior Mobile Task Force team. Well, Nine-Tailed Fox is pretty impressive, and they are one of the premier units. I mean, let's not overshoot their relevance here. They are simply popular because of their presence in an SCP video game, most of all. Let's see. Also, I might point out that we've already had them ranked in a much more important version of ranking mobile task forces than any combat readiness. And that is ranking Epsilon 11, Nine-Tailed Fox, on their ability to win a hot dog eating competition. Because only the best mobile task forces can surpass this goal. And of course, we did rank them S rank. So I do believe that you are correct. They are one of the top. Amber, what rank do they have? Oh, you got it. Thank you for being on the same wavelength here, Amber. Right on task. I appreciate your intrepidness in this matter. Thank you for donating again, James, to say, I'd argue they're more qualified than the red right hand. Well, I don't know about that. It depends on what you're asking them for. If you're talking about defending the O5s, I would not put Nine-Tailed Fox in there. That's not their goal. Every mobile task force team is uniquely specialized to their missions. Nine-Tailed Fox is a very large team with very heavy weaponry, meant to go quell containment breaches. If we put them as a security contingent, there might be too many chefs in the kitchen because there's too much heavy ordnance going around. Dr. Sherman, wasn't expecting the 2747 jump scare in 9911. It was a good article, too. Dr. Frogman, what? Did I completely miss a 2747 reference? Which planet was utilizing that? Frickin' planet gods sneaking things under the radar? What are your favorite / some good SCP stories that have to do with time loops? Well, Celestia, one of my favorite anomalies, SCP-3999, is a big, meta, surrealist time loop story. It is all sorts of meta bullshit, very similar. Fans of House of Leaves tend to enjoy SCP-3999. And yeah, that is the story of one dude, researcher James Talleyrand, being time looped again and again and again and again and again. It's crazy. So that's the first one I would bring up. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. Looking for the real anthology, recognize the name Harkness. That's a Doctor Who thing, right? So curiosity got me there. Yes, Captain Jack Harkness is a time-traveling swashbuckler in the Doctor Who universe. You are correct. What's your opinions on the interns naming 106's files Radical Larry? Well, listen, as long as they're not putting it on official documentation, if they're just nicknaming it Radical Larry for funsies and slang, I mean, we gotta blow off steam somehow around here. Everything's so dire all the time. Just like those researchers of SCP-5320 who formed a funny little cult about the infinite fish, our Lord and Savior, our long and merciful Lord, the fish that just goes on forever. Now, yeah, they got in a little trouble with Internal Affairs because they didn't quite point out that it was a joke, and Internal Affairs thought that they had begun worshiping the entity, but it was all cleared up. Intern Dirty Thirsty Dan. The floor of SCP-173's enclosure has a grate where we can shuffle off the mixture of poop and blood that excretes from SCP-173. So one could say, I guess, that we have to wipe down the floor daily using 3D class who tell each other when they blink so they don't get their necks snapped. I ate macaroni and cheese. Well, head containment designer A, I need to ask you. It wasn't alive, right? Because if you ate an entity of SCP-4L-D3N73-J, then I'm going to be very cross with you, because we do not destroy anomalies here, even if they are racist Italian stereotype pastas. Watching The Cabin in the Woods and dreaming of an SCP log of the annual sacrifices and their intricacies. Oh, we are lousy with SCPs about sacrifices. I mean, already, your Lord and Savior SCP-3305-1, we need to burn a virgin in order to summon bread Jesus. So there's your first sacrifice SCP. But also SCP-2317, I believe, has some human sacrifices, or at least animal sacrifices. Hey, I love learning about SPCs. Well, intern Teddy, I'm sorry to say you're at the wrong facility then. The Shark Punching Center is 2 facilities over. There, they are punching sharks all the livelong day, those SPC guys. But if you decide to win the game of learning about SCPs, then we're here. I spelt it wrong. I knew that, intern Teddy, but I had to say it anyways because the joke still stands. The entire reason the Shark Punching Center exists is because too many people typoed SPC, and the original wiki authors made a joke about it that became a whole group of interest. So yeah, we're all having fun here. Silent Follower, thank you for your first donation of today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself some gazpacho on the way out past the commissary, I guess, because you're losing your phone battery and you have cats that want your attention, so you have yourself a good night as well. Is the SPC a GOI? Yes, Vidal, the Shark Punching Center is a group of interest in the Foundation's lore. They have a whole universe of shark punching going on. It is always funny. Shark Punching Center is one of my favorite groups of interest for entertainment value. But I would say the mood, if you're a fan of James Gunn's Peacemaker television series, that cheesy glam rock, 80s kind of vibe, goofing off, too big, too goofy, that is where you're going to get with the Shark Punching Center as well. As above, so below is 2747. It made a cameo when the guy was talking about names having meanings and how the phrase sparked a primal fear in humans of something. Oh, okay. Well, that is the name of it. But, okay, I didn't realize it was a straight-up reference to that because that's been so often used in religiosity and God stuff forever. So I don't know if that was a reference. I'd be interested if you're correct about that or not. I just knew it as a more generic phrase. Oh, damn, I thought it was just some guys who really hated sharks. Oh, no, Vidal. They are a whole militarized group with shark-punching weaponry and training. And they fight anomalous sharks. And regular sharks. And things that look like sharks. If you count that time, they went into an SCP-3008 offshoot called the IKEA and got in a fight with a bunch of shark plushies that are called Blauhaus or something. Why is SCP-131 not part of 173's containment solution? Obviously, out of universe, they are written at different times, but what about in universe? Intern Goose, we're not going to have that situation because it would be unethical to leave the 131s in the containment cell with all of that feces and blood on the floor. It's unsanitary. And so, yes, we're not Also, they are just the mentality of mostly cats. Yes, they did help us survive that one time, but it's kind of cruel and unusual to put them to that work, especially when we can use the D class. The shark plushies are called Blauhau. Yeah, they're called Blauhau. I looked up how to pronounce it because I thought they were pronounced Blahaj, because that's how they're spelled. But no, you can't trust the Swedes and their pronunciations. And so it's like Blauhau or something. Blowhau. It's like that time I got frickin' schooled by the Containment Hazard Assessment team over the pronunciation of Upsilon. I'm a fucking Upsilon. I can't believe it's not Upsilon. I'm still mad. Upsilon is so stupid. Upsilon Daisy! James, thank you for donating again. What even is the SD role in Containment Breach? In a Containment Breach. The SD role in a Containment Breach. I'm not sure what slang or term you're using there. The site director's role, you mean? If it's the site director's role, my job is to, first of all, go down with the ship, a la any pirate captain. Your job is to manage security forces. It's like playing a top-down strategy game. You've got to put your forces in the right places to cut off entrances. That way, people are save as many people as you can, contain as many anomalies as you can. How was Jesus Land, by the way? Well, I mean, it's a defunct theme park in a Vor Jesus' stomach, so not great. I'm not a fan. James, thank you for donating again to clarify you meant security department, not site director, but now I'm confused. I mean, what role do you think they would have? Their job is to evacuate researchers and non-combatant personnel, to secure the anomaly back into containment, only destroying it if it's a major last-ditch effort. Make sure that any invaders, intruders, and the like do not make it to the on-site nuke button if they're trying to sabotage us. Make sure that they don't get anything they're trying to steal. You know, security things. What was the song you sang in yesterday's stream? Huh. Does anyone remember what song I sang at the end of yesterday's stream? What was the credit song? I don't recall off the top of my head. Does anyone remember? While we're thinking about that, Christian, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. I think the song I sang yesterday was Seize the Day from the musical Newsies. Is that right? I mean, at least I'm pretty sure. Hi to Pop. What's this stream about? Well, since we're doing a time check here, anyways, hello, we are 1 hour into this 3-hour stream, which means we have 2 hours remaining. And in case you just got here, I am the site director, Dr. Theron Sherman, site director of Site 42 of the SCP Foundation. And in these daily streams, I answer your questions about the inner workings of the SCP Foundation, answering questions about the anomalies, their staff, the staff that contains them, the groups of interest who try to stop us from containing them, and hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of the Foundation's purview. Perhaps they're from a different multiverse or pataphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom. You have 2 hours more for today's stream to ask your questions. James, thank you for donating again. Don't they have an SRU unit, though? You think they would have containment breach equipment? You're using a lot of abbreviations that, at least in my documentation, in my universe, I don't see a lot of. I don't know what an SRU is. It's not a Scranton Reality Anchor, because that would be an SRA. So, again, I need a little more classification. I need a little more elaboration, I should say, into what an SRU unit is. I mean, I can try and see if I can find it on the database. Boom. SRU unit. Soldier recovery unit for the Army. I mean, obviously our security units and our containment procedures are meant to help in recontainment of any anomaly we have in, well, containment. And so if the anomaly is on site and contained, our security forces know the protocols for recontainment and should have the equipment that is necessary to do so for the specific anomalies. The Special Response Unit, handpicked security, you say. Thank you for clarifying. And, okay, I mean, I wouldn't think we'd have that in each site because we have our stationary security forces, our stationary task force, STF, and mobile task forces, MTF. And so the special response units are different. Every mobile task force has a different job. If you look at the mobile task force database on the SkipNet database, you'll see their specialties, like the mole rats handle underground traversal, the pest control handles anomalous vermin, stuff like that. And then, yeah, our task force for security on site is there for that express purpose. So they are the Special Response Unit. Puppet Boy, thank you for donating again. Jesus Land not great. No urban exploring for Doc. Explore. Listen, oh, this is your first donation. Grab yourself some Pop-Tarts at the commissary. I am much more for staying in the lab. I'm not much of a go out and explore guy unless I have to. And so, that being said, there's also not a lot to explore at the Jesus Land theme park. If you look at the documentation for SCP-5991, there's just not that much going on. Is that Gemini Home Entertainment in the thumbnail? Intern Con Studios, it is not. What is in the thumbnail by SCP artist Aiko, A-I-K-O, is the article image, promotional image for SCP-9911, codename Malkuth. Hold on, I'm just typing this out as well as saying it. Codename Malkuth, Symphonia, learn how to spell, Universalis, on the SCP Wiki. It's the first article from this year's 2025 horror anthology. And I'll put some links in there later. Abby, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. How exactly would an SCP-096 versus a humanoid anti-memetics go? Would 096 be able to detect the anti-meme, or would its brain malfunction? Well, first of all, remember, SCP-096, as well as all anomalies, are its, not he's. Anomalies are objects, not people. So it's an it, not a he. Please practice proper pronoun parlance protocols at the Foundation. Second of all, it can sense where you are no matter where you are. Therefore, I imagine even if it can't see you / remember you, it still knows you saw it and it'll still get you. That is my hypothesis. James, thank you for donating again. Does Site 42 have an STF team? Of course, every site has an STF team. If your site doesn't have security, you're in a pretty bad position, I would think. Oh, by the way, Site 42's Containment Hazard Assessment Team has proven victorious today, and that we have more likes than we do viewers. So, congratulations to you. Mobile Task Force Sci 42, codename The Signal Boosters. Your work on getting those likes so high makes YouTube want to give us more newbies. And then we bring them and we transform them into SCP fans, so they help us help the SCP Wiki and its authors, artists, animators, game devs, filmmakers, merch makers, and etc. So thank you for your service as we continue to rep the SCP Foundation community. Dr. Knight, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself an orange creamsicle on your way past the commissary. Dr. Knight memo. Only just saw the title, but you guys made what now? Profanity filter engaged. Profanity filter overloading. End transmission. Yes, Dr. Knight. Read SCP-9911 and despair. Mafioso, welcome to your first live stream at Site 42. We do them daily, so make sure you hit that bell. And or if you are in the Site 42 Discord server, make sure you gain the role from the roles menu called a live alert. There you will be pinged in Discord every time we go live, because we go live at different times of day, so it's hard to keep track of. But your question, would two SCP-096s attack each other if they were in the same room? My feeling is no, because an 096 knows it's ugly and it knows what it looks like. It doesn't care if it itself knows, which is why an 096 doesn't attack itself if it looks in a mirror. So I would assume it doesn't attack itself if it's itself from another universe either. Doc, I am hungry. Got any non-anomalous chili dogs? Intern Sonic the Hedgehog, we will have them sent from the commissary to this very welcoming containment cell. Enjoy. Intern Puffy, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a Nutella crepe on your way past the commissary. Has an SCP ever escaped before, and if so, which one? Listen, we do our best with the resources we have, but some of these things completely defy the laws of physics. So yes, sometimes anomalies breach containment and get away. For instance, SCP-3043, codename Murphy Law, in its first iteration welcoming to the site, definitely got away from us. Where did you get your lab coat? Intern friend, very simply, do not buy a costume lab coat. They are low quality and twice as expensive as regular lab coats. Go to a medical supply store. Lab coats are cheap because doctors and scientists go through them. If you get acid on your lab coat, you got to go buy a new one. So real lab coats have better sizing and quality. They are cheaper than costumes. Then you just purchase an SCP patch from, I don't know, friend of the channel on Etsy, Toad King Studios, the SCP Foundation's premier merchandise maker of mugs, patches, stickers, and other SCP ephemera. Get yourself an iron-on patch and bam, you got yourself an SCP lab coat. They also do mobile task force patches if you want to get tack gear and be an agent. Orange Cloud, thank you for your 2-month member message as a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service in helping us win the battle against the white names. What did you do now, boss? Also, hi. I didn't do it! The Department of Stellar Affairs and the Department of Tactical Theology did it. Thank you. They did it in SCP-9911, if you want to read the first article in this year's 2025 horror anthology for the SCP Wiki. Can you explain what the GOC? Well, intern friend, the GOC can CCC as far as they can CCC, but all that they will CCC is the bottom of a coffin after their lungs are filled with shredded mulch because they mulched a nice and kind anomalous chair like a bunch of douchebags. I wrote an SCP with AI lol. Well, that's not really going to go super well for you. The SCP Wiki has completely banned submissions that use AI for the writing or the art or anything of the matter. So you can have fun with your personal AI SCP, but it won't be canon, that's for sure. Yes, thank you for the SCP Foundation for banning that. Well, you're quite welcome, everyone who's very excited, because yes, the SCP staff has fully banned AI from the wiki. You know, we are an arts community, so the idea of our hobby kicking us out for AI doesn't seem like the move. Yeah, Dr. Frogman, there is something to be said for using AI for, like, they allow spell check, obviously. And you can use AI in your, like, iterating ideas, bouncing things off a wall. But when it comes time to write it, you actually have to write it. That's the deal. You can also bounce ideas off the wall with people, though. And often you'll get something just as good, if not better, than bouncing ideas off an AI. So I suggest more collaboration in our creative, collaborative community than communing with the bots. Da 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 na 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 da na 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 da 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 na 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 da na na. What does green names mean? Intern 5 Pepsi. If you are watching this chat normally, you will see white names and green names in the chat. White names are people who are not members of Site 42's YouTube channel. Green names are members of Site 42 YouTube channel. And members get badges and emojis in the chat that the white names don't. And it also helps support the channel. So the green names are on our friends list, and the white names are interns until they get promoted. Are there any words or phrases that are anomalous? Like if you say them, something bad happens? Yes! There are plenty of words and phrases that are memetic and or cognitohazardous. In fact, a SCP that I am quite fond of SCP-6442 is a level 5 classified top secret thaumiel anomaly. And the story is short and sweet. You get a very long list of special containment procedures telling you this thing is secret. We will not let anyone find it. We have a million ways to stop people from finding it. We will not let them have it. They will die before they get it. This thing is so secured, contained, and protected. And then you get to the end and the description is less than 10 sentences. And then the story ends. But essentially, after all that suspense of how secret this thing is, it is a inscription that is, if you, in your brain, understand 73% of the inscription, your brain shuts down and you die. And so, this inscription is meant to protect us from spying by omniscient entities. Because omniscient entities know everything. And we don't want them to know our secrets. So we created an anomalous phrase that if they read it, they die. SCP-6442 is super cool. Orange Cloud, thank you for your first donation of today's stream as well as your membership. Make sure to grab yourself a nice bucket of fried chicken on your way past the commissary. Also, how are your non-anomalous felines? The kitties are doing quite pretty today. The kitties are doing quite pretty. Dr. Knight, thank you for donating again. Okay, profanity mute ended. Long story short, while undoing a doomsday prophecy, my department erased a planet from history. Now worried what'll happen if it ever comes back. 343, help us all. Well, here's the... Yes. Perhaps that's not a bad thing, considering the effects of SCP-9911. I would hate to know what that thing could be doing. Doctor, how do we contain something like House of Leaves, for example? Well, intern Sonels, House of Leaves, technically speaking, how you look at this changeable Rubik's Cube of artisticness, you're either talking about a manuscript about a fictional movie, and that manuscript could be easily contained in a box, or you're talking about a house with interior changing walls. And in that case, you would end up containing the house, meaning lock it off, call it condemned, call it a hazard of some sort, get it under Foundation custody. And then we would probably have exploration logs of mobile task forces. We'd probably send in the mole rats. They probably maybe encounter the entity that is in there if there actually is an entity, which there may not be. You know, the huge. How do I be a member of your channel? Well, Intern Lily, memberships are found on the page of the channel. So if you go to our channel page, there will be a membership button and members only content. So that's where you're going to join the, to become a green name. The question is relating to one of your previous statements. If an SCP is humanoid in nature and states that it has a gender, is it still an it? Intern Gamer Dog, unfortunately, yes. Due to our depersonalization of anomalies so that we don't feel bad about keeping them in prison forever, we do not treat them like humans, we treat them as objects. So it's not a genderization to call them it is a dehumanization. Very different. They still technically have a gender, but we don't use it because they are not humans, they are objects. Orange Cloud, thank you for donating again. So I was thinking about how previously, on how I built a weak small droid that looks like a Fazbear Entertainment's balloon boy to be a punching bag. But then I had a thought, why not just put a pic of balloon boy on an actual punching bag? Well, it would probably hurt your hands a lot less than punching an animatronic droid. So I would suggest that unless you were training your fists in some combat form that required you to punch robots. Now, I do not recommend punching robots as a habit, but I also have a researcher's weak, frail hands. Maybe you have stronger hands meant for robot punching. Perhaps you could use an intermittent training session with the Shark Punching Center, because they would have some punching technology that we could only dream of, actually. We are scientists, not monsters. We dehumanize, not use the wrong pronouns on purpose. Exactly, Sonic. On top of which, if a anomaly graduates to being a part of Foundation staff, which is very difficult, they have to be extremely loyal to the Foundation. They have to have anomalous abilities that will not disrupt other anomalies and or could help us with containment. If an anomalous individual joins the ranks of the Foundation, they also regain their humanity in our eyes. For instance, Dr. Clef is not an it. Dr. Crow is not an it. Dr. Frogman, the heck you mean unfortunately? I mean unfortunately because I am sympathetic to the LGBTQIA communities, and even for me, as stone cold loyal to the Foundation I am, I do support the LGBTQIA community, and using people's preferred pronouns when it is applicable is a good and healthy thing to do. But, you know, for our anomalies, that's not the way. They are not people. Dan the Man, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Base scientist, question mark, question mark, question mark? Well, Sonic, the SCP Foundation is an arts community. There's a lot of LGBTQIA authors on the SCP Wiki. We are a very pro that community. Am I trustworthy, Dr. Sherman? After all, I did save your life that one time and even got the scars to prove it. You've also made a whole bunch of messes to counterbalance that good behavior. But, Zeirdrin, and by the way, welcome to chat and thank you for being a member, I do have a present for you. Because you've shown up today, and you reminded me of it, I've got a new SCP dad joke for you. Prepare yourselves for laughter and mirth and merriment. Here we go. You know what? I'm tired of being made fun of by this Containment Hazard Assessment team for the way I pronounce the objects known as SCP-504. I mean, after all, you say tomato, I say tomato. Ow! You're welcome. I am pretty proud of that one. Junior Researcher Sally, good to see that you're still here. Enjoy your lurking. Intern Lils, I'm sorry to hear that you're somehow unable to become a member, but remember, just because you can't donate for one reason or another doesn't make you less valuable to Site-42. You're still a member of this Containment Hazard Assessment team, and you're still a member of Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codenamed the Signal Boosters. If you're here chatting, liking, and all that, then you are helping boost our signal to get more people into the SCP fandom, and we salute you for that. Orange Cloud, thank you for donating again. I'm actually strong enough to tear apart weak robots thanks to my quirks. Not the kind from My Hero Academia, you crazy anime fans. Okay, gotcha. Well, that is an intense level of strength. Put it to good use, I hope. What would happen if you drew George the Chinchilla on another SCP that also multiplies when you shred it? What would happen? Would they both multiple, or what would happen? Also, will we get pink hair soon? Also, hi. So first, another SCP that also multiplies when you shred it. I'm not familiar with an anomaly like this, and I'm not quite sure I understand the mechanics. Because if George the Chinchilla takes over an anomalous entity, then it would still be a George the Chinchilla and not that other thing. For instance, we can never let George the Chinchilla interact with SCP-423, codename Fred. Because if Fred turns into a George instance, we're going to lose Fred, and Fred is very useful. Therefore, I do believe that a George iteration taking over a separate anomalous fictional character would overwrite it completely, and it would not gain any new anomalous influence from that. Raccoon Dog, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself some sausage patties on your way past the commissary. Hey Doc, is there a universe where anomalies contain a set of humans or Foundation staff? Well, if there is, I haven't heard of it. I'm not familiar, but there is no canon, so to speak. It could be out there somewhere. I wouldn't be shocked. What happened to your hand spider that eats crystals? Intern Zane, the floating hand spider is quite all right at the super cool petting zoo. And in fact, if you go over to the Site-42 TikTok and scroll down a little bit, you'll see a new video featuring the floating hand spider. It will be released on the YouTube channel as well, sooner than later. Can Sonic the Hedgehog be an SCP? Well, Intern Mai, the answer is no, because it is from another multiverse and or pataphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom. And to be an SCP, you must be an original creation. You can't be a ripoff of something else unless it's a ripoff enough that it's different enough to be its own thing. For instance, Bundle, the SCP, is a blatant, basically ripoff of Slenderman, but changed enough to be its own thing. But if it's off-site, like Slenderman, like Siren Head, etc., it is not an SCP, but it is anomalous. Furthermore, there is a Sonic the Hedgehog reference on the wiki, and it's SCP-3086. We were just talking about George the Chinchilla. There's a quick reference to Sonic in there because George the Chinchilla accidentally took over the Sega of America website one time, and we had to do a disinformation campaign to cover that up. We said it was a prank from Nintendo of America, putting George the Chinchilla up there instead of Sonic the Hedgehog. It was a whole thing. Are there any Eldritch/Lovecraftian skips you'd recommend if someone was writing one? Working on a draft for when I see green light. Well, Intern Fox, I know we have a bunch of them, but I don't know that we have a tag for them. Lovecraftian SCPs. I mean, there's always 2662, which is a literal Cthulhu, a teenage Cthulhu that we have in containment. But I wouldn't say that that's super Lovecraftian in tone. But if I go to our SCP for a moment, people are voting that SCP-3000, 3003, and 2998 can be considered Lovecraftian in mood. 1936 is getting upvoted as Lovecraftian, as is 2764. I think those would be some good starters for you, at least from the community recommendations. Oh, by the way, Site42 staff, we are currently at 1 hour and 40 minutes left in stream, which leaves 1 hour and 20 minutes left for your questions. What does SCP stand for? Well, a lot of people believe it stands for Secure, Contain, and Protect, but that is an informal motto that is not the original meaning. The original meaning from the first SCP ever written, SCP-173, is Special Containment Procedures. And that's why everything is SCP-173 and digits and so on, because this is the SCP Special Containment Procedures for this entity. This is the 173rd set of Special Containment Procedures. Hey, I remember you. Well then, I guess the amnestics wore off. Welcome back, Intern Davis. Hey, Dr. Sherman, what's the yummiest SCP? Do let me know, I am hungering. Well, Intern Ollie, SCP-458, the infinite pizza box that always spawns your favorite pizza, is a top contender. If you're a fan of cake, you can go to SCP, is it 871? The self-replicating cakes? But of course, you can only eat SCP-871 if you are in fact a non-anomalous human. Otherwise, you're lending to an end-of-the-world scenario, and I don't appreciate that. 294, the coffee machine that can spawn almost anything, can spawn anything, so it could probably give you some tasty beveraginos. Dr. Frogman, you thought it was 835? No, that is a different anomaly. 871 is the Infinite Cakes. Raccoon Dog, thank you for donating again. How many of your colleagues could you beat in an arm wrestling match? Any specific names? Well, earlier I talked about how I'm just a researcher, how I don't go out in the field. I'm not much for getting into fights. But arm wrestling isn't necessarily a fight. Arm wrestling is a contest of physical prowess, body awareness, and raw strength. And as a dancer and someone who goes to the gym often, I am surprisingly strong and aware of my body for someone of my not exactly jacked persuasion. And so I'm actually pretty good with understanding the physics of arm wrestling and success. So unless someone is just that much stronger than me, I'll probably take them. And so, for instance, I'm not worried about Dr. Glass easily, nor Dr. Gears would not even deign to arm wrestle. Yeah, I could just run down the list, but it would just be back and forth and back and forth. You would look great with gray hair. Well, Sman, I did do these highlights in gray for a while to be distinguished along the way, to look a little older and classier for the SCP streams. But then I said, screw it, let's have a little fun, and I went for colorization. And as a reminder, someone asked about this earlier. How far are we from the pink hair dyeing goal? We currently have a green name membership goal, where if we get 2,500 green names, that will be the threshold for me to dye my hair pink. And right now, if I pull up the membership numbers, we are currently at 1,429 members, which means we are over 50%, almost 60% of the way to pink hair. And so if you guys want me to dye my hair pink, we need another just about 1,000 and a little bit more than that green names on the channel. Meanwhile, if you guys want me to purchase a maid dress and perform a cat-made waifu Dr. Sherman stream, that is 5,000 green names. I don't know why this is what you want, but it's what you asked for. And so the current membership total on the channel is 1,429. We make our way up from there. You can become a green name yourself, or you can gift some. Zane and Sir Patches, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Oh, and in that vein, Raccoon Dog, thank you for gifting 5 memberships to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. If you are here and present and receive one of those memberships, make sure to thank Raccoon Dog for their generosity in helping us bolster our forces so we can win the battle against the white names! Desk is telling me that canonically I can beat Clef in an arm wrestling match. I must assume the only way that's possible is because as much of a strategic mind Clef is much more weapons-based combat and not a physical combatant. So perhaps that's the situation there. What is your favorite SCP? Well, Sir Patches, I tell you my favorite SCPs at the end of every stream. It's a tradition around these parts. And so, we are currently 75 minutes from me listing my favorite SCPs. Although, if you want to cheat and find them out early, you could always donate and ask, and then I just tell you right away. Or you can go to yesterday's stream, skip to the end, and you can hear them there. It's a cheater's method, but hey, if you want to know them now, you want to know them now. Hey, can someone explain what gifting subs means? I've never understood that. So, Intern Kit. Here it's on YouTube. You can become a member of a channel. So it's not gifting subs here on Site 42, it's gifting memberships. Whereas on Twitch, you follow someone, which is subscriptions on YouTube, and then you subscribe to them, which is memberships on YouTube. So the terminology is thrown around weird. So if you are on YouTube, you can subscribe for free, and you can become a member for a monthly payment. And memberships is a way to give money directly to your favorite content creators. And that is what is gifted here. They are being gifted memberships on Site 42. And so you can go down to the membership button and you can buy your own membership, which Level 1 Researcher Aegis just did. So Aegis, welcome to Level 1 Researchership here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service. And especially the research you'll help us do to win the battle against the White Names. Meanwhile, I believe you can also gift memberships at that same button. And you can gift them in sets of 1, 5, 10, 20, 50, etc. And if you went over to Twitch, then you would be following for free and subscribing for money. Meanwhile, SpongeBob, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Intern Onion, who's making up some gods right now? It is not that we are making up gods. It is that a combination of our Department of Stellar Affairs and Department of Tactical Theology in the late 90s accidentally turned the inner planets of our solar system into gods. In the article SCP-9911, if you're interested in researching. Halloween is going by too fast. There's still too much spooky art I want to do. Zombie Cat. We are a horror science fiction community. The spooky doesn't end at Halloween, friend. Come on, son. Did you mention a Twitch? SCP-3008-1. I have a Twitch for Site 42 that I do not use. So it's there if you want to follow it for funsies. We might put it to use at some point. I have it so that the name is saved. But our moderator, The Desk, does stream on Twitch. And The Desk streams gaming streams and SCP streams and the like, sometimes as The Desk itself and sometimes as Dr. Alto Clef. And so you can follow and subscribe to Desk over at The Desk SCP on Twitch if you like. Hey, Dr. Sherman, what are some must-reads for someone trying to get into the SCP Wiki? Well, Intern Ollie. Some of the classics are good to read for getting used to what the site used to be, the Series 1 articles. So, 173, 096, 049. These are the ones that you read because they're so mimetic and popular that you just want to know what people are talking about. Then you can pretty much go wild. I suggest the thousands are pretty important. They're contest winners, and so they are very well liked and talked about. Also read any of the 999s, because the way contests works on the wiki is that whoever wins the 1,000 contest gets to be the 1,000 slot, and then the runners-up get to pick what slot they want to be in descending order. And most people will pick either very early slots like the 1,000 through 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5, or they'll pick the ones near the end, 5999, 5998, 5997, etc. And so in that way, you can find out which ones won contests or did better. And so you'll know what the community is talking about. Also, check out the user-curated lists in the sidebar. That gives you a good tour of the community. Ask your friends what SCPs they like, because they might have similar taste to you and will turn you on to things you'll probably like. And if a SCP sounds interesting based on things I or other content creators say, check them out that way. Lots of suggestions. Desk. Give Professor Onion a break. That's probably the least offensive way to ask that question. But we do not fraternize with the anomalies, which means none of them are smoochable. Stop it. Out of character reminder to everyone from author Sherman above is that if we ban everyone who asks if they can date or smooch an SCP, then I can't make fun of them. And that's fun. Hashtag annoyed and asexual indeed, Zerdrin. Alex Ask, welcome to Mobile Task Force Captainship here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service, especially the combat victories that you will bring us to help us win the battle against the White Names. Dark Phoenix, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some duck chili on your way past the commissary. Greetings, Dr. Sherman. I saw you did a stream about space anomalies. Did anyone mention Iris, the living planet that mutates other planets? I do not remember Iris, the living planet that mutates other planets. I've never heard of this. Tell me more right the hell now. I'm curious. Hey, Doc, where did you get your pen? This particular pen is from the Game Developer Conference, which is local to the San Francisco Bay Area where I am stationed. And so sometimes when there is an SCP game in development, their team visits GDC, and I go hang out with them, talk shop, help them promote, help them get contacts with other people in the SCP community, and I try to help out game dev teams. And so while I was there, I was like, ooh, I like pens. This has got a nice rubberized coating, which makes it easier to hold on to while spinning. It is not of the Global Occult Coalition. I know that looks like a GOC, but it's actually a GDC. Very different. Dr. Sherman, did the SCP Foundation do something, because why has 2025 been so weird? Intern Snells, unfortunately, it's not our fault. The world is just normally chaos. Does the pen even have ink in it anymore? Well, yeah, mostly I just spin it, so it should be full of ink. Yeah, that's a full pen. I'm gonna try to be an agent for Halloween. It would be cool. Well, good luck, Intern Mace. I approve of your opportunity here. It'll be fun, indeed. Dr. Sherman, what's your opinion on Dr. Volgin? Well, Intern Fiction, there technically is no Dr. Volgin. The Volgin YouTuber's character is called Dr. Miller. And Dr. Miller is a bang-up chap, to be sure. Everyone else is dressing up as either Clef or Dr. Sherman for Halloween, I guarantee it. Well, Zeirdrin, that is, in fact, just Hawaiian shirts and a lab coat. So that's a pretty easy closet cosplay to put together for a lot of people. Not shocking. I have not seen someone cosplay me / do Halloween as me before. That would be a trip. The difference is either hat or pen. Exactly. What about me? I've seen a lot of Dr. Kondraki cosplays. I mean, you just put on a trucker cap and you have some butterflies around you pasted to your lab coat and you carry a camera. Then you're Dr. Kondraki pretty easily. Tyler, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself some waffles on your way past the commissary. The O5 Council is currently investigating into if your pen spinning is done by anomalous means. Hey, I worked hard to learn how to do this. In fact, somebody asked how I do it earlier, and quite easily, you hold it between your fingers, you turn it sideways, catch it with the next one, boom. Sideways, catch it, boom. Sideways, over the top, under, over the top, you can reverse it. Over the top, under, over, under. You practice it both ways, both hands, you get good. Tutorial end. Also, Tyler, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, Raccoon Dog. Yeah, I'm lost in thought. Now... Apropos of nothing. Apropos of nothing I'm seeing in the chat at all. I've never met an ugly person where it wasn't caused by being ugly on the inside. Someone who either was a bad person, a jerk, an asshole of some sort, a manipulator, or someone who was so depressed to the point that it caused them not to take care of themselves. Because attitude has a lot to do with your attractiveness and confidence of going out in public. If you take care of yourself, if you're eating well, sleeping well, exercising regularly, if you are doing things to move your life forward in a good direction, your physical traits very often don't matter. You come out smelling right as rain regardless. Attitude is pretty much everything. And so make sure that you're not looking down on yourself attitudinally and causing yourself to have the confidence detriment that is actually causing the issue in the first place. And in fact, here's one more mental health tip for you, something that's come up recently. So the containment hazard assessment team, as well as any chat, is a public setting. It's a public setting. It's like a cafe. It's like a party. And so when you bring up things of a certain dire mood there, it kind of needs to be a extreme shout for help, just like if you're going to say you have a problem in the middle of a restaurant or something and you're calling out to everybody. And so watch out for that in the first place, but that's not really what this is about. What I want to tell you is that you got to watch out for venting in general. There's some studies about this where therapists who taught people to punch pillows whenever they're stressed, it made them feel better because it released endorphins in their brains. But it also rewrote the pattern recognition of their brain that if you get upset, be aggressive about it, hurt something. And so it reinforced negative stereotypical aggressive behavior because they got used to punching things as what would make them feel better. And then you graduate from punching pillows to walls to people. It's no bueno. And so you think about the Buddhist monks, they are training themselves to center themselves, to breathe. You can do things to increase your mental health that aren't reinforcing bad patterns. It's why the Site42 Discord server specifically doesn't have a vent channel. When you decide just to spew a lot of negativity out into the world, it does make you feel better. But it also makes you a more negative person, both to yourself because you're reinforcing patterns of negativity and expressing negativity. And it also makes other people see you negatively because another human psyche trick that they've shown. If I talk shit about, let's say, Volgan. Let's say I say Volgan is a complete asshat and terrible person and you should never hang out with Volgan. Because I'm the person who said it to you, and because you're the person, you perceive me saying those things, a little bit of the stink of my words about Volgan also sticks to me. So it's not so much I am Volgan's rubber, I am glue, and it bounces off. It's literally, you see the terrible things I say and attribute it to me as well as if you believe me about Volgan. Now, of course, let's remember, Volgan is dope. I mean nothing about that negative about Volgan. I'm just using him as an example because he came up in conversation. Volgan is cool, and I am cool. Thank you. But yes, there's obviously a balance to these things. You can't bottle everything up until you explode. There are healthy ways to ask for help in public spaces, to ask for help from close friends, healthy ways to express that I'm having a negative emotion and I need to do something about the cause of it so I can stop having a negative emotion. But you, on the other side of that, need to make sure you're not reinforcing a negative pattern by doing so. Signed, I'm not a therapist. I am not a medical professional. I'm just a guy telling you what I think helps me and what might help you as well. Dad mode off. Scientist mode on. Sorry, dad mode back on. So long story short, too late. Take care of yourself physically, mentally, and socially. Make sure you are doing the right kind of work that keeps you alive in capitalism. We all need money, unfortunately. Keep doing things that keep your body well and your mind well. Develop hobbies outside of your work so you're not just trapped in a hamster wheel of death. And I bet not only will you feel happier, you'll also feel more attractive. Because happy people are attractive, one way or another. Good vibes only is not a suggestion, it's a threat. Thank you, Desk. Now, reminder, good vibes only is not a cultish mantra that we never express negativity. Do not positivity poison yourself as well. But it's a little bit. Okay, dad mode off. Back to the SCP Foundation. Dark Phoenix, before I do that, Amber, thank you for gifting 5 memberships to today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. We appreciate your generosity in helping us bolster our forces to win the battle against the White Names. And Dark Phoenix, thank you for donating again. Has abilities that include manipulating planets using Neptune as a lens to fire energy and Earth and controlling technology. And is this an SCP or is this an off-site non-canon anomaly? I'm not familiar with Iris the Living Planet. Iris the Living Planet. Gemini Home Entertainment. I see. Well, that's why. We were talking about space SCPs specifically. And so Iris the Living Planet did not come up because it's not an SCP. Although it is anomalous AF. Da 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 da. So apparently AI can be anomalous, so that gives me a question, is ChatGPT an SCP? Well, intern Marigold, the answer is no. ChatGPT exists in real life. It is normal for LMMs, Gen AI, that sort of thing. It is non-anomalous, therefore not an SCP. But there are anomalous artificial intelligences. In fact, we use a lot of them in containment. We call them artificial intelligence constructs. And they usually help us in containing of digital entities. A great way to check this out is to check out the Artificial Intelligence Applications Division, which is, I believe, a canon of the SCP Wiki, the AIAD. A lot of great stories in there. True, if you have a headache, you're likely dehydrated, and remember to eat at least once a day. Everything has to be in moderation. In true gamer dog. And also remember, never believe anything about yourself that your brain tells you after midnight. Whatever your brain says about you and your self-esteem after midnight, shut that shit off, it's lying. Woo, boy. Hey, Dr. Sherman, how long would you survive SCP-001 when day breaks? Well, considering that Site-42 has a very impressive underground network with a large amount of supplies, I believe we could stay put for a good while. And we do have teleporters that could take us to some pretty interesting places. So I'm in a better position than most, unless the flesh creatures get in. I'm stuck in the SCP-196 cell. Come get me already. Well, Camel, I am quite sure I am interested in what 196's prognosis is for your survival. SCP-196 code name. Oh, why didn't you give me the code name? 196 code name, Time Paradox. Appears to be a middle-aged male of African-American descent, claims to be 47 years old, subject has black hair, brown eyes. There's no abnormal physical characteristics. Normal basic needs of a human being. Tested with an IQ of 109. Psychological exam indicated suffers from institutionalization and Stockholm syndrome in relation to the Foundation's security staff. It does not seem that you are in any danger of being in SCP-196's cell. So, sit tight, we'll get you out. Chest to Factory, what a good time for a time check, thank you. We are currently 131 minutes into a 3-hour stream, so we have 50 minutes approximately left in today's stream. Jenna, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, I believe, as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself some milk duds on your way past the commissary. Dr. Sherman, what are you being for Halloween? If you dress up, that is. I'm being the Red Team Scout from Team Fortress 2. Also, do you still go trick-or-treating or do you hand out candy or none? Intern Ollie. I will be dressing up for Halloween because I do love a good costume party. I will be dressing in my favorite closet cosplay, the Pirate King. I have some very regal-looking pirate wear that I like to put on for the holiday and drink rum. As a Florida man, born in Tampa, which has its own pirate Mardi Gras parade every year called Gasparilla, we rep pirates in this household. And I will be staying home for trick-or-treaters because thanks to Site 42 moving last year, I have landed in a very nice neighborhood with a lot of kids. And so it's fun to hang out and hand out candy. Doctor, what's your opinion on your cohort, Dr. Bob? Well, intern, fiction, I don't watch a lot of Dr. Bob. I'm not familiar with their work. In fact, they are very opaque as to how many people are on their staff and what company they come from. So I don't know much about their behind the scenes, which worries me. If you're hiding your workings like that, it gives me pause. I mean, when we found out about how the Rubber and Detective Void were doing things, it wasn't exactly savory. But hopefully they're doing good work. I hear they're not as bad as Rubber and Detective Void were on content level. I have to check in with Rad and see how Rad rates their videos in factuality compared to the other content farms. Will we get to see the fancy pirate costume? I do intend to wear my Halloween costume for stream that day, if that's okay with you guys. Okay, so me downloading games from Internet Archive is okay with you, or is that the wrong type of pirate? Well, there's times where piracy be the right and the wrong thing. You need to be ethical in your piracy. Much like I enjoy the Browncoats and their outlaws, but honorable outlaws. So, depends on your target of your piracy, I would say. Amber, thank you for your 23 months of level 1 researchership here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service. Especially the research you're helping us do to win the battle against the White Names. And the donation of memberships to bolster our resources and our troops to help us win the battle against the White Names. We appreciate you on all fronts, Amber. Hey, almost 2 years. Also check out 9040, Pirate Boy. Yes, happy to almost 2 years to you, indeed. Meanwhile, 9040, are you telling me we get some piracy? Please be some piracy. SCP-9040's collective designation for a population of German cockroaches, individually designated 9040-1 through 53. Instances exhibit sapience, fluent vocal speech, anthropomorphic behavior, and significantly extended lifespans. All wear garments consistent with late 18th century European maritime fashion, typically accessorized with sewing needles in place of swords and miniature firecrackers in place of pistols. I am torn because I hate bugs, but I love pirates. And so, pirate roaches... I will have to examine this article closely and see what these scallywags are up to. Horror Show, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself some of those olives that have been made up to look like eyeballs at the party. At the commissary on your way past. Chaos Insurgency versus Redacted, what would happen? If you redact their opponent from your message, I cannot answer your query. Please try again. Help, the milk demon from Soggy Nugget stole my milk from my fridge. Oh, God, yeah, the Nugget Wing has been making a lot of attempts out into the further sight areas proximal to them. Oh, the Milk Demon is so annoying. But, okay, yeah, just get some more from the commissary. You'll be fine. Horror Show, thank you for... donating again to clarify that you meant, 2521. I see. Well, thankfully, since we are here in this stream protected by the desk's pataphysical cognitohazardous protection, we can say that clearly here. Just don't say it when you leave stream. But, yes. The Chaos Insurgency has no way to win against 2521. Easy, easy loser. Even more than they are losers typically. Is it okay to pirate a dating sim that you wouldn't be able to pay for because you have parents? When it comes to piracy, my biggest rule is supporting artists. So if you're pirating an indie game that it's a small company, then you really probably shouldn't do it because those artists need that support to grow and continue to make art. If you're pirating something because the artist is a bad person who doesn't deserve your money, that's a little more forgivable. If the creator of Rurouni Kenshin happened to get caught with a whole bunch of CSM, then perhaps they don't need more money with which to procure more CSM. Not that I'm speaking about any case in real life that may have happened. There's gradients to the morality of this thing, and so everyone's going to have to make their own judgment calls. I would totally download a pizza. Man, now you're making me want pizza. Well, something for me to think about in the next 40 minutes as making a decision what I'm going to eat for dinner. Ta-ta, ta-ta. Da, da, da. Hey, Doctor, what would happen if you have a sentient, nearly humanoid SCP and it is aware of what it is, what's happening, what it does, etc., would using its preferred pronouns apply then? No. If it is an anomaly in containment, it is an object, not a person. It is an it. I don't see how that's different than our earlier conversation on this. Man, what a pizza freak. Hey, wait, no, if I order pizza, it better not be delivered by the pizza freak. I do not want to not die, but still be alive. Man, that pizza freak is confusing, man. Doc, have you heard about Project Foundation? If so, what's your opinion on it, and if you can explain it briefly to us? That is a familiar title, but off the top of my head, I'm having a fuzzy recollection. What does that mean? Yes, I believe that what you're talking about is the fact that we are trying as a community to get off of Wikidot and form a website and server situation of our own, so we're not beholden to the formatting and the somewhat subpar maintenance of the Wikidot platform. Now, I have no intel as to how that's going, if it's going well or poorly, or anything like that. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of information on it, besides it's something that staff was talking about at some point. Who do you think would win in a death battle, SCP-682 or Doomsday from DC? Intern Jake. That was already well discussed by the boys over at Death Battle. And they came to the conclusion that SCP-682 would take victory, I believe. And I'm not going to argue with them. I think they are pretty well versed at what they're doing over there. Doc, how long can you survive SCP-096? Well, that depends on how far away from it I am when I see its face. Because I can't beat it. Don't look at its face. That's the only way to survive it. Why can't we talk about him? Intern Wilson, if you're talking about the rules of the channel, it's because that character's author, who used that character as an author avatar, was banned from the SCP community for things that are so egregious, allegedly, and that were actually involved in the character's characterization itself, that the entire author community pretty much outright said, no, we're just banning that character forever. And so you can see a video on this channel called The Last Death of Dr. Jack Bright if you want to see a quick summary of the situation with links to more videos with more intel. But that's why we don't talk about that character. We don't talk about Bruno here. A.A. Blackwood. To a certain point, you're never going to get everyone to be on the same side of that. You're looking at the same morality question as when I was talking about when to pirate or not. There's a gradient of when it's okay or not okay to do X, Y, and Z, but that gradient and the place on the line is different to every person. So the likelihood of you convincing anyone of their morality being wrong is not easily met on the internet. Don't be Don Quixote fighting with windmills, because the windmills aren't going to relent. All we can do is put our opinion forward and say, hey, this is how I'm doing it. You do you. I don't like it, but you have fun, I guess. Horror Show, thank you for donating again. I'm a part of the Chaos Insurgency. Well, I'm glad that you are double agenting in there to get us information on them. If you know that team, if you have any coordinates on that team that stole the SCP-3086 information, we could very much use that sooner than later. Can't we just use the butler to find the missing team? Junior Researcher Sally, not a bad idea. Maybe we can put Mr. Deeds on the case. I mean, it depends on how well they're finding, because reminder, Mr. Deeds can't do the impossible. Mr. Deeds definitely has limitations. So it's possible we could set Deeds loose if we can get a requisition form for the handbell. Maybe that would be useful. I mean, one more log on the fire of trying to succeed here, so every resources we can use in a pinch. Cool music. Well, intern Juice Soda, I agree with you that it's cool music. We are currently listening to the playlist Middle Distance by Slowgramming on Spotify. Our music is provided by Billith, SCP author and creator of the music collection Slowgramming. If you are interested in finding more, it's on YouTube and Spotify. Sid, we are currently 30 minutes from the end of stream. 30 minutes from the end of this 3-hour stream. Aiko. As you can tell, I am very talented with my fingers. And I'm also asexual and therefore uninterested. Bye, Felicia. Hashtag annoyed and asexual. Whatever god there is above made it a crime making me so attractive and yet asexual. So sad for everyone. You gotta watch out for those evil and sexy plans, people. I'm still learning about SCP. What makes an SCP an SCP? Well, intern Joel, an SCP has to have 2 qualities to exist. Number 1, it is anomalous, meaning it breaks the laws of physics in some way. It breaks our natural understanding of things. It is not normal. And secondly, it has to have an SCP document on the SCP database. So let's think about this as a thought exercise. Siren Head, very anomalous. Doesn't exist on the SCP wiki, therefore it's not an SCP. Anything on the SCP database's log of anomalous items. Anomalous, but not SCPs. Even though they're on the SCP database, they are not specifically SCPs. To reiterate the desk right now, first of all, standard chat rules. Remember to listen to the blue name. The desk is our moderator, handles things. If you disobey the desk, bad things happen to your ability to talk in the chat. Furthermore, the desk is not going to pass on questions to me because you asked it. I am going to answer the questions I find interesting or was donated to answer. So, make your questions more interesting if you want me to answer them, or donate. Furthermore, yes. Desk very rarely, like once a week, passes me on a question in the back channels. In fact, I wouldn't say it's that common. It just has to be that kind of, oh, this is a real good one and he didn't think it'd see it. It's up to the desk. It's up to the desk's discretion. Bread Sandwich, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. grab yourself a blueberry muffin on your way past the commissary. Any musical SCPs, as in SCPs that use music to mind control or maybe force you to sing, as a way to get you with exhaustion or stealing your life force. The 2 musical SCPs I'm going to give you. Number 1, I believe it's SCP-3636, called the World's Greatest Jukebox as a code name. Huh. Skipper must be down. It's not giving me... Hold on a second. Why are you misbehaving? Have you tried turning it off and on again? We'll see. So as we were, there we are, we're back. World's Greatest Jukebox, SCP-3636, is a jukebox, and if you play the song, the scenario of that song comes to life. We have a very long banned songs list, because if you play the songs, bad things have happened or will happen. Furthermore, SCP... I always forget the number for this one, but it's called Midnight Train Going Anywhere, because it's based on the Journey lyric. SCP-3444 is a train that if you get on it, it transforms you into a musical life scenario that usually teaches you a lesson of some sort. And so you should check out 3636 and 3444 if you want musical SCPs. Desk, you are correct. Skipper, the website, has been down for over a month, unfortunately. But at least the Skipper extension for Chrome is still functional. Aquatic Ruins, get a real job, Unk. I do a better job here than you do at your job, son. Get good, scrub. Can you do a flip? Well, Gramber? Boom! Jackson, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Dr. Sherman, your thoughts on my favorite SCP, the Salsa Hammer. Always fun at parties, the Salsa Hammer is. Indeed. What about a happy song about peace and love? Well, Bread Sandwich, because we value normalcy above all things, we do not condone using anomalies to change the world, even in positive ways. There are plenty of anomalies we could use to help attain world peace or other things. But that is not in our code book. We are going to maintain normalcy. "19 minutes left in chat, everyone. 19 minutes left in stream." Dr. Sherman, I don't get paid enough to create containments for literal gods or Lovecraftian entities. Don't get greedy. We all have our qualms about containing the bigger entities, and we all have a job to do. You want a raise, talk to HR. Maverick the Dragon, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a jelly donut on your way past the commissary. I sent you a picture on your DM on Discord. Where do you want me to put it? Ah, okay, that makes sense. So, in case you guys didn't realize this, when I'm doing work with other SCP creators or game devs who are working on SCP games or short filmmakers, stuff like that, I am usually messaging them through Discord. I basically only use Discord for work purposes. And therefore, please A, do not friend me on Discord unless you actually know me and we're communicating. B, don't shoot me random DMs unless it's something important for work stuff. C, don't ping me unnecessarily. Unless it's like a really cool, interesting, important question. Because usually that's just my work app and I have a lot of backed up notifications. Fan art placement should probably be in the fan art channel of the Discord server. That would be a good place to put it. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Oh, son of a bitch. Who has infected my containment hazard assessment team with 022-J? I'm going to scroll this containment hazard assessment team. And the first person who brought it up is getting a timeout. Scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and keep scrolling, 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 scrolling. Who brought up titanium in my Garam chat? You know, I wonder what would happen. Hey, desk! Tell me if you can still moderate while you're timed out for being a titanium dick. My wrath is targeted extremely well. SCP-049, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Dr. Sherman, what is the most likely the real SCP-001 proposal? Intern fiction, I am not at liberty to say. Ooh, either desk is back, or desk can moderate whilst timed out. Interesting. I can shut the desk up, but I can't stop the signal. Appropriate. Is there more than one of the same SCP? And if there is there one I can attain that's friendly? I'm not quite sure what you mean, Intern Joel, but there are a lot of SCPs that have multiple iterations, for good or for ill. There are multiple SCP-939 entities, the hunting dogs that can copy your voice. There's multiple SCP-966s, the sleep killers. There's a lot of multiplied anomalies. And so, the answer is that you need to make sure, if you are going, well, first of all, you can't befriend any of them, because we can't be friends with SCPs. We are supposed to contain them, not be buddy-buddy with the prisoners. Which SCP is the strongest on the Foundation? Intern Juice Soda. SCP-6101's first line of its description clearly states, SCP-6101 is the most powerful SCP. It's right there in the description. I don't know what else to tell you, man. Seriously wondering how do you guys monitor SCP-096 without it getting mad? Remember, it's not a him. It's an it. Anomalies are not people. They are objects. Please practice proper pronoun parlance protocols at the Foundation. And we put it in a box. We don't look at it. We put a bag over it, said if we have to recontain it. It's not that complicated. Is the Boiled One in the SCP lore? Intern Loki, the answer is no. The Boiled One is a separate, anomalous franchise that is not related to SCP in any way. So I accidentally tweeted a picture of 096 and forgot my password. What do I do? Well, you thank the artificial intelligence construct that took down your tweet before it posted and say goodbye thanks to the sniper who's outside your window. Good night. Hey, 300 likes. You are correct, Zerdrin. We have crossed 300 likes and you have less than 10 minutes left in stream, people, so keep hitting that like button. Get your questions in before we wrap up. Is there a faction or person who basically is a mad scientist who creates anomalies to cause havoc or mess with the Foundation? There are several, depending on how you're classifying mad scientist. Dr. Wondertainment is a toy maker, but basically a mad scientist for toys anomalies. Dedo is a parapharmacologist. That it is a anomalous drug maker. Anderson Robotics, Prometheus Labs, both anomalous roboticists. Calypso Stinger, thank you for, I don't know if this is your first donation of Taste Humor Lot. We're right at the end of stream, but in case it's not, or in case it is your first donation, grab yourself a hot link on your way past the commissary. If SCP not friends, why iPods allowed to roam? Listen, the SCPs that have more of a pet-like disposition, the iPods, Josie the half-cat, they are not likely to try and escape, which has caused Sites 17 and 19 to be less than professional with them. I disagree with it, but that's how they're doing things. Juice Soda and Mr. Chessie, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Is there a proper place to learn about SCP? Joel, the answer is the SCP Wiki. scp-wiki.wiki.com is the SCP community's homepage. It is where all of the SCPs are written. It is where the main canon of SCP knowledge is. That said, if you're not much for reading, which we are a writing community, so there's a lot of reading involved, you can watch YouTube channels. I would strive to find the ones that get the information correct. We here at Site 42 do our best to make sure to report actually what the SCPs are about. So do the Volgin or Mr. Illustrated. If Freddy Krueger was an SCP, how would the Foundation contain it? Hard to contain a dream demon, eh? Well, the good news is it is only localized to that town. At least in the first movie. Sequels. But, yes, there is the problem of dream demons. You saw nothing. The problem is that every time you think you beat Freddy, Freddy always comes back at the end of the movie. So honestly, I'm believing this to be a Keter/uncontainable anomaly, due to the fact that it just always comes back, no matter how you wreck it. You think you won, and then it came back at the end. It's quite frustrating. And I believe over the course of sequels, it's been moved from place to place to place, meaning it doesn't just take place in one city. And in fact, isn't there a Freddy movie where the Freddy movies are movies, and the actors and the writers who made the movie are attacked by Freddy? Meaning that Freddy Krueger has pataphysical level climbing abilities? Yeah, he hates fire, Zerdrin. It hates fire. Sorry, that was my bad. But also, it burned in the first movie and then came back. Good as new. So, every time it dies, it comes right back. So, it is not stoppable in that way. Very frustrating. I mean, Jason is so much easier to contain. Have you seen Jason X? Jason was put in cryogenic freezing and stayed frozen perfectly fine. It wasn't until someone broke the cryogenic chamber that Jason got out. Jason is incredibly easy to put in a box. Freddy, not so much. Desk, I must counter, I don't think Freddy would be Apollyon because I don't think it's a big enough threat. It doesn't go world-ending, it just haunts certain towns for a time. Instead, I would liken Freddy Krueger to the Yule Man, SCP-4666. It teleports around the world, it does its murders at a time scale, and then it moves on. So it is a Keter entity, Freddy Krueger is. because the SCPs are not real. Well, yes, intern Kamato. Anytime someone asked if SCPs are real, it is our duty as a community to say no. It is just a creative writing website full of spooky internet writers who enjoy making funny and creepy stories. Because we don't want anyone believing they're real enough. We don't want kids going out there stabbing their friends because Slender Man said so. And so the SCP wiki does drop kayfabe if you ask, is it real? Dr. Sherman, what is your opinion of the work of Dr. Huxtable with SCP-5031? Well, that depends on which researcher in that story Dr. Huxtable is. Researcher Huxtable is the good one, and so my answer is congratulations on proper containment and use of the anomaly. I think Huxtable deserves commendation, for sure. What happens if you see SCP-096's face in a dream? Well, Mr. Cheese, here's the funny thing about about dreams versus SCP-096. A dream, whenever you're in a dream, the faces it makes up in the dream are all part of your memories in some way or another. It's putting together, it's either using people you already know or mixing together people you know, as far as we're familiar with in dream science. Therefore, it is quite impossible to accidentally dream SCP-096's actual face unless you've already seen it. And if you've already seen it, you probably aren't going to sleep in the first place. Time check. Well, Dr. Frogman, we are literally 45 seconds until the end of stream. This is your very last chance to ask questions. Can 096 be contained inside the Infinite IKEA? No, because it is basically a mortal entity, which means there is a statistical fact that it would find the door and escape eventually. So no. Well, what did I stumble upon? Will I get the pill treatment? Well, Dr. 2C, if you're seeing this stream, it incurs that you must be an SCP Foundation staff member. We only broadcast this through an agreement with Alphabet, Google's parent company, YouTube's parent company, that this only goes to SCP Foundation employees. So if you're here, you're family. And that is it, Site 42 staff. We are at the end of today's stream. And as always, at the end of today's stream, I tell you that what my favorite SCPs are. Now, of course, I'm not going to tell you that my favorite SCPs are the ones I personally wrote. That would be cheating. Of course, I love the SCPs I wrote. And hey, if you want to see the SCPs I personally wrote, you can go to TheSherm's Site 42 Hub and Author page. There you can see the SCPs I wrote, as well as contributed voice lines or other sound effects too. And hey, while you're there, one tab over from those SCPs, there's some really cool links. Links that people always ask about in chat, but they're just not clever enough to find. But you guys, you're clever. You won't miss those links, right? I don't think so. This containment hazard assessment team is obviously the wisest of them, and that's why they would find the links. Meanwhile, while you're at those links, if you want to help out Site 42, you can become a Patreon patron or YouTube channel member to donate to us monthly. You can do a Ko-Fi or a YouTube Super Chat to donate to us once in a message. Either way, we appreciate direct donations. They help us keep the lights on around these parts. And if you are a broke gang and you do not have access to the fundage to donate, do not worry. You are still valued and honored here at Site 42 as a member of Mobile Task Force Psi 42, codename the Signal Boosters. And your mission to hit that like button, to like, share, subscribe, comment in our videos, chat in our chats, is how we get the YouTube algorithm to boost us to the stratosphere. More people find us streaming and go, oh, SCP content? I guess I shall. And they help us to continue to support the SCP Wiki and its authors, artists, animators, game devs, filmmakers, merch makers, etc. YouTube and Netflix and Amazon and all these companies will never make SCP content themselves because of the Creative Commons. If they can't own it, they don't want to mess with it. So we're just going to have to do it ourselves. And that's with your help, everyone. So, with that, I thank you for your service, Mobile Task Force Psi 42. And now, continuing on, my favorite SCPs in no particular order are SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and SCP-8980. Content warning on that last one, it is a rough read. Speed round. 3999-3043-008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, 5320, and 8980. Content warning on the last one, it's a rough read. Hugo and Project Ace, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Meanwhile, Site 42 staff, I hope you have had fun. I hope you have learned something. This has been another Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site 42. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. Someone donates $20 right now, I'll do a slow round. Otherwise, I'm ending the stream. Slow round is not guaranteed. It's not part of the tradition. And so, be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, protect. I'll see you in the next video and or stream. Damn it, raccoon dog! Damn you! I was gonna do the credit song, and you've interrupted me. You. Okay. You wanted a slow round of my favorite SCPs. Here you go. SCP-3999. SCP-3043. SCP-008-J. SCP-Spooky-J. SCP-5031. SCP-5175. SCP-5320. And SCP-8980. Content warning on that last one. It's a doozy. You monsters. Fare thee well, Containment Hazard Assessment Team. You silly billy goats, you. See me driving down the street. I'm bored with looking good. I got both hands off the wheel. The cops are coming. I listen to the music with no fear. You can hear it too if you're sincere. 'Cause I'm a punk rocker, yes I am. Well, I'm a punk rocker, yes I am. 'Cause I'm a punk rocker, yes I am. Well, I'm a punk rocker, yes I am. The credit song is Punk Rocker by Teddy Bears, featuring Iggy Pop. Also, Official Yeeps, Samar, and Flamenco. Welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Be safe, be well, everyone, and secure, contain, protect.